Hello, in this video I'll show you how you can install the Figaf DevOps tool in Azure with some of the new technologies we have there. So you need to go to the Figaf tool, you need to sign up, and then you'll get an email with a license key that you can use once you get started. So you'll log into your Azure portal, you will create a new resource group. So the first thing we need is a resource group. This is just a place that you're bundling the things together for this application. So we'll create one that's called Demo Video. We will put it in Europe West, and that's all we need, and we'll create it. So now we've created a new resource group. So this is just a way we can bundle all our services together. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a SQL database or a Postgres SQL database. That's the easiest. So we'll just select here Azure database for Postgres, and the idea here is it's managed by Azure and all the services involved in this. So you select create, and we'll just use the single server. Obviously, if you scale out and it becomes difficult and stuff like that, you can increase it and change the size of it. So we'll just use the server name here. Does not contain. No, it does not. So at least contain 3 characters. We can select whether or not we want backup of it. We don't. We want to place it in Europe West. Which version we want. Then it's probably okay. And we want to just configure it down. So standard, it's using the general purpose one, which is a little overkill for small applications. But once you scale up the application, it should be pretty simple. And you can just put the application to the lowest setting. It's like 30 euros a month for this price, and then you can specify how much backup and stuff like that you want. Local recovery with inside of the data region, that should be okay. But obviously if you want the higher scalability and stuff like that, you can go with the general purpose. But for proof of concept setting up, this is all you need. So now we've configured the data, we just need to create a user, admin, and we just need a password. And the best way is just to create a new notepad with this information. So I normally just copy this because we will need it later. And the pass, obviously you shouldn't. So we'll just create a password. No worries, this will be gone once it's done. So now we've created, we will create it, and this will then start creating of this database and everything you need in that process. And then you can just go around waiting for it has been created. So we can go to our resource group and see what's going on here. And we can see up here that it's just is deploying and it's working. So that's all fine. The next thing we want to do is to have our application server, and we've created some Docker images and they run on Web Apps. So we'll just search for Web Apps and we will select the Web Apps for container. Web Apps from Microsoft. Web App for container, and we will create this. So what's the web app name? We will just use the password. Figaf Web App demo. It's a Docker, and we will also place it in the same region. is West Europe, I think it was. And then you need to select a plan, and we have selected this one, but ideally you probably want to select one with 7 gigabytes to get started. Then we go to the Docker part, and it's a composer, and we will need to use the Docker Hub, and we will select a file, and there should be a YAML file. So it's this one that you can then see all the data of, and this should be in the description that you can find this YAML file. Next up, we will go to monitoring, applications inside, that's all right, great. And then this will create this YAML application, and then it will start up deploying this one. So let's see if our database was created successfully. So the demo video is still being deployed. So let's see. So the resource group, what do we have of applications in here? So the web app has now been created, so we should be able to find it here. And we still have a few tasks that we need to do once we get this up and running. So it does take a little while starting these things up. So in our resource group, so now we got our app services running, and what we can then do is we need to go into the configuration, and here we have an application setting file. So we'll go into advanced edit. We will put in this setting file, and you can file it in this document. And then you need to go through and find out all these different resources. We have the database name that can be standard. We can use this this user. So that would be our password. Our user will be Figaf admin. Server host is going to be the server host that we have just started. So I guess that will be Figaf. Figaf Web App Demo. We have some storage we need to have enabled. And then we just need to have these two missing things configured. So let's just duplicate this one so we can see if the web app resource group, the SQL database has been created. So now we can see the database has been created. It's called demo3, and we will go here. ERT database host is then this, and the user, we also got that from over here, it's this one, and we will just insert it into the user. So the username is with both these two power properties, and we got our Figaf web app. So that should be all the configuration that we need. One other thing in the database, we need to enable here access from Azure services. Otherwise we will not be able to enable it. We have forced SSL encryption, which is pretty good. And now we can go back here, we can save this. So if we want to see the data, we can go here to edit, or we can show all the values. So just press save. And now this will then deploy this this app. And if we, so there's a few things we can still set up. We can go here, we can enable SSL only, which is pretty good. That way we can only buy it or only get access using SSL. And then we can then go here to our app services, and we just need to make sure that the data here is saved. And once that's done, we can simply just wait until the application has started. And here in the app stream, we can then see what's going on. Sometimes we will need to press reconnect to get data about what's actually happening with our VM. So we can see that the Docker images are starting to be deployed. And we got all our configuration. So the data about the starting of the images is going okay. And we can go here to our database or to our application server. And we can see if it's up and running, then we should get this one. And at a later point, we'll be able to go to ERT. But it does take a little while for it, so now we can see it's starting to the Glow root, which is a monitoring application that we have added to the application. And now we can see that the Figaf application is also starting, and it will first create the database while you're doing these things. So we have seen it take like 5 minutes to start, and that's probably just because we have configured way too low memory and CPU consumption for this. Obviously, if you had more CPUs, it should be behaving a lot differently. When we install it on our PCs, it takes 30 seconds for it to start. And we can see now it's creating all the database tables that it needs for running the application. So it takes a little while. Just pause it for me a few minutes. So now we got the message that the ERT application has been started in 2 minutes. We can go here back to our UL, and maybe some of the mappings is not working with the links. So from the ERT application, we push these links mappings for our processing, and maybe those need to be refreshed. So sometimes you need to restart the application, and to do that you just go up here, press restart, and then it will restart, and it will take another 3 minutes for the application to start, depending on your resource consumption. Let's see. So now the application is up and running. You can define a default password for it, which is obviously recommended. So now it's defined. You will go here to the license, enter your license key, and once you've done that, you can go and you can create different agents for whatever system that you need to have access to. If you want to connect to your PO system, you obviously need to have the application installed on a VNet that has access to your backend systems. That was all I wanted to cover in this video about how you can install the Figaf tool in the cloud. I guess one thing we just need to cover is that you have in this folder that's called Glow. This gives you some default access. One of the things you need to do is you need to enter the password and change it. And the password is in the manual. And the thing is here, you can go in and you can see what's going on. Are there any transactions that takes too long? You have something about some of the background tasks, who is spending time in which area. And if you want to report any errors, you can see some JVM stuff here. If something fails, you also have an option to, let's see if we got any errors here. On the license, we see here a trace error. We can select one of these. We can then see the trace entries here, which obviously is okay because we don't have a license installed on the system. And you have an option here to download the trace data. If you want to report this, then this is a good way to send it the data for us. You will need to go in, configure the change my password. You have the password and change it to something new so it is not the default password. I hope this helps. Hope this is as easy for you to set up as it was here. So I have spent 30 or 20 minutes on it. So that should be pretty simple to set up. I hope you want to try it out and see how it works. Thank you.